everyone. How are you? I know that we have a plan to send a prayer around the world, and what's really beautiful is that we can send our prayer around the world, but we also have a lot of power to share. So everyone has power, which is something that's really wonderful about human beings, is that we all have so much love and we all have so much power. So we can send that love and that power, that healing power, the power to lead, and the power of our vision around the world. So one of the things that we've been doing is we've been sending a prayer around the world. So great mystery creator, we give thanks to you. We are so grateful to be alive, that we are all here together in this beautiful place, Mother Earth. And we ask, Creator, that you will assist us and guide us, help us, protect us, and show us what you would have us do. We're asking that we can be of service and of help to others in a good way. And we're sending, Creator, our love. We're sending our power around the world. We're sending it, and we're asking that it can move through all of the people and all of the plants, that all of the people around the world can be touched in a good way by our presence here, that we can begin to connect in ways that are beneficial and healing. And then we've been sending this love all the way around the world, and we can just see it moving completely around the world and touching everyone, all of the animals and the plants and all of the human beings. And asking that everyone be blessed during this time. And that this great love that we all carry so much generosity of spirit, that generosity can move into the world in a good way. So we're sending our love around the world, and then you send it all the way around until it comes all the way back to you, which is really beautiful. So then receiving, and then you can give it back out again, and then receiving, and then giving it back out again, and then receiving and giving it back out again. And great mystery, please guide our conversation today. This conversation belongs to you, and I place it in your care, and this is your conversation, and Saffron's conversation also. I thank you, great mystery. Oh, amen. And this is Saffron. She's also joining us. Say hello. Hi, Saffron. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Hello, my friends. Hello, my beautiful students. So many people that I love so much. And so what is interesting, I've been thinking about our conversation from a couple of days ago, and I was thinking about healing arts, and I myself have been working on some of the healing arts, and just wondering also, what are you creating? What is it that you're creating with your gifts and your talents? And the earth needs our gifts and our talents right now, and our communities need our gifts and our talents, and our families and our loved ones need our gifts and our talents. And it's really beautiful. My beloved sister and friend, who's a very powerful, really beautiful medicine woman in Quintana Roo, Mexico, Araceli Dominguez, wrote me a letter this morning, and that I received this morning, and I was reflecting on it, and I will post the rest of it here for later. But one of the things that she said is, I shared with you for her community her reflection on the coronavirus as a living being that is part of nature, and therefore a creature of Mother Earth. A creature that Pachamama is using to isolate herself from humanity. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that an interesting thought? To take a breath and fix the disaster that we have made in the water, air, and the earth, in its surface, its entrails, and atmosphere. Ooh, my friend. And she goes on to say, to remain in isolation is to take advantage of the mirror that the mother presents to us. She heals herself in the isolation of humanity and returns to us in the mirror the solution. And so I always think about solutions, like what are the solutions? I think that sometimes we can get really wrapped up in the problem, but what are the solutions? And if I have some spaciousness at this time, and I can really reflect. What are some of the solutions that I see? I love how she's saying this. She says, isolate yourself and heal yourself through art and through introspection. And then she goes on to speak about how the people are singing on the balconies in Italy. It's really beautiful. And she says she's seen several videos where mothers teach sons and daughters about how to use time. How to use time. It's interesting. How to use time by awakening their creativity through painting, movement, singing, reading, prayer, meditation, and the art of healing. It's really beautiful. And she says that we're entering into a new time. So what I know is, I know that one of the things that that I've learned, my great-grandfather is from Copper Canyon, Mexico, and so I've gone to Mexico, and it's a place of my heart. It's like the interior of my heart, and I learned a lot when I've journeyed there from the land and from my beloved friends and family and extended family. And so I remember Araceli, we were talking about, she was talking about her meditation and how in her meditation, and I remember when we were there, I brought a couple of groups there, and I bring groups there yearly to learn and to share our gifts and talents and to receive the gifts and talents from the people there. And what we learned in the 2012 was that time was changing, and that in the numerology or in the Mayan calendar, that it was changing, and that it's changing from time is money. And Araceli goes into this a little bit in her letter, but it goes from time is money to now we're shifting into time is art. And so we knew that in that time that we would be shifting from time is money into time is art. And so it brings us back to, what are our arts? What is it that we want to share? What are our gifts and our talents? What is it that I want to make in the world? What are my dreams? And I was also thinking, Saffron is like, yes. I was also thinking about patterns. I was thinking about rhythm and repetition. And we have all of these really interesting patterns, and this is another pattern that we're in. And so I'm just noticing that. And what are the new patterns that we want to be creating? I was thinking about this because I was also reflecting on some modern day prayers, which are poems. I believe that poetry is a prayer. Hi, hello sisters. I'm so happy to see you. Hi, Berna. Hi, sister. I'm so grateful to see you. Hi, Mike. Hello. I love you. This is so beautiful. It's really interesting because I can see all of you guys. It's really neat. I can see what you're saying. I know I need to focus on what I'm saying, but I love you and I'm really happy and grateful. So I was thinking about rhythm and the patterns of nature, and my brother Mike and Michael Cross also I was texting with him this morning, and he was saying this morning that it's good to pray and that we need to be praying hard. And that's one of the patterns we have, is one of the rhythms that we have is that we have ways to connect with our higher power, whatever we see that as. And I know that for some of us, that's going to be connecting with the earth. That'll be connecting with the sky. It may be making prayers. It may be making prayers in different ways that are connected to your heart. But how do you want to connect with the divine? So I was thinking about these repetitions and rhythms, and there's this poem called The Waking by Theodore Rothke, and I was thinking about the rhythm in this poem, and I would like to share it with you. It's, I wake to sleep and I take my waking slow. I feel my fate and what I cannot fear. I feel my fate in what I cannot fear. It's so interesting. I learn by going where I have to go. We think by feeling what is there to know. I hear my being dance from ear to ear. I wake to sleep and take my waking slow. Of those so close beside me, which are you? Creator, bless the ground. I shall walk softly there and learn by going where I have to go. Light takes the tree, but who can tell us how? The lowly worm climbs up a winding stair. I wake to sleep and take my waking slow. Great nature has another thing to do to you and me, so take the lively air and lovely learn by going where you have to go. The shaking keeps me steady. I should know, isn't that great? The shaking keeps me steady. Shaking keeps me steady. I should know what falls away is always and is near. I wake to sleep and I take my waking slow. I learn by going where I have to go. The Waking by Theodore Roethke. And so where we have to go right now is inside. I think we have to go inside. And I also think about the times of day, and I think about the cycles, and that right now I believe that what we're really being asked to do is to start paying attention even to like the time of day. Like, how much attention do we pay to the time of day? Like, the time of day is like, it's nighttime. So nighttime usually means, oh, go inside and it's time to rest. And so do I rest when it's nighttime? Or, and some of us have a lot of creativity and create a lot at night. So we all have different rhythms and cycles, but those rhythms and cycles are there to help us, to guide us, to hold us. And what my Hunka mom, Barbara Means Adams, taught me is that we're really human beings. We're supposed to be at the bottom of the totem pole. We're not at the top of it. We think we're actually at the bottom of the Great Spirit or Creator or the mystery or however you think of your higher power. That belongs at the top. And then we have all of these other beings that are above us, right? So we have animals that are above us. We have plants that are above us. We have all of these other beings that are above us. And what's important is that it's kind of like that we're able as human beings to turn that we've got it the wrong way. We need to turn it back around. And so the Creator or the great mystery is there watching over us and holding us and caring for us in that good way. So I think about the seasons, and I think about, well, where are we now in the seasons? Well, right now it's noon, so it's like a really strong time of day. And it is our strongest time of day. It is the time of day where we are usually really active and we're moving around and we're accomplishing our things, right? We're doing all the things and we're accomplishing them. But then we have the dusk, right, which is more of that going inside. Then we're able to go inside. We're able to connect with our loved ones. And then we have the opportunity to go into the night, which is our time of rest. And then we get up again in the morning. And we haven't been doing that for a really long time. We haven't been doing that. There's a lot of, if we live in a city or near a city, it's like the city that never sleeps, or we have all these like false lights that we have turned on. And so at night, we're no longer really getting tired because we have all this fake sunlight we made. So it's kind of interesting to think about. So how do we return to the natural cycles and the natural seasons? And so right now I'm thinking about spring, and spring for us here in the Northwest. And spring is a time where we begin to plant things. And I really love, there's this really great book. It's called The Hopi Survival Kit. It's an interesting book. It's not the most uplifting read, but it's good. And it's true. I feel that that it is true. It is very true. And so one of the things that there's a beautiful statement in there that says everyone has always wanted to love a seed. Like everyone has always wanted to love a seed. And so I think about like apples. Like we have apples, and I also have. These are some seeds also. These are sunflower seeds that are really beautiful. Oh, it's backward on there. But the sunflowers, there's some other seeds here also. So some echinacea seeds and other seeds. And so this is the time where we would love a seed and where we would, many people would say we would sing to the plants. My mom used to sing always to her plants, and it was always so beautiful. And so the sunflower, we can plant sunflowers because those are not only for us, but they're also for the birds and for the other creatures. And so when we think about planting, we also think about nurturing and nourishing, and how we are going to nurture ourselves, how we're going to create what is most sustainable. And so one of the things that's fun to do is that we can, when we eat fruit that is local and that is organic, we can replant the seeds, or we can put the seeds back out as kind of a gift or a connection. So that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. And also I wanted to talk about a little bit about our feelings and how out of touch we are with our feelings, and that one of the ways we know what's happening with the earth and with each other and with the plants and with the animals is to be in contact with our feelings. That doesn't mean our feelings get to hijack the show or run the show, but it means that we're able to be in contact with them enough to where they can be our messengers and our guides. And so one of the things, especially when we're in such close proximity with other people, to just be aware of that, and to ask ourselves, like, am I being the person that I want to be? Like, am I able to be the person that I most want to be? Am I the partner I want to be, the friend I want to be, the sister I want to be, the brother I want to be, the lover I want to be? Am I that person? And how can, if I'm not that person, then maybe I could do something to improve myself. And because we all have improvements to make, and oftentimes we're like looking at another person in the house, because we're all in our houses now, and we're looking at another person in our house and telling them how they can make improvements. And really, if I can focus on my own prayer, if I can focus on my own intention, if I can focus on my own arts, on my own healing arts, or as we were talking about in the last talk on our own medicine, if I can focus on my own medicine, then I'm focused on my own medicine. And if I can focus on, how I can improve myself, then that's where I really want my energy to be. And so, what seeds are you thinking of planting? And it's spring. It's this really beautiful and powerful time to be thinking about that. And not only are we thinking about the physical seeds and the food seeds that we want to plant because it's spring, but we're also thinking about, what do I want to plant for this coming season? What do I want to experience in this coming season? Hi, Sissy. Hello. I'm wondering, what is it that you want to be planting in your life, in your relationships? So I think that, hi, Connie Rad. Hello. Oh, my brother. Hi. And what is it? What is it that I most want to be experiencing, by this time next year? And so we can think about that. Now, another really cool thing that we can do is we can connect with all of the other beings that live here. So I think about not only the trees, but the fruit trees, but also this is a flat leaf cedar that I really love. It's a friend of mine, this tree. And so what's really important is that we begin to remember how to communicate with other beings that are different than human beings. And so we can begin to listen, and then we can begin to feel, and then we can begin to respond appropriately to what is happening with them. And everybody knows how to do this. Everybody has this somewhere inside of them. We're a part of the earth. The earth is not separate from us. We're a part of the earth, and she is speaking to us right now. And so I think that one of the important things that we can do is that we can, even if you have a balcony and you can be, 6 feet away from people, then you can be outside and you can listen and pay attention, and you can be with your other friends, like your trees, or maybe there's a local, we have in Idaho, I'm not in Idaho right now, but in Idaho we have a bobcat, we have a bear, we have, all of these friends that come onto the land. We have the coyotes and the turkeys, not at the same time, they don't come on at the same time, but all of our friends are there, and we honor them and we respect them, and I know that I'm there to uplift them, and what can I do to uplift them and to be a good friend and a good ally to them. And so I'm wondering about what seeds you're wanting to plant for this next year, and what it is that you're wanting to create, and then what kind of container, what kind of atmosphere are you creating? What is the atmosphere? So as I was saying earlier, like, am I the person I want to be? Am I the prayer that I want to be? Am I making and saying the words that are going to create good things in my life and in the lives of those around me? We can just do our best with that. Like, no one is going to do that perfectly. None of us do. We all have room for improvement. But what's important is that we're able to create a container, and that container is it's a container of spiritual, emotional, and physical safety. And so what am I doing to create that? The earth has worked really hard to create that. And we have not been helpful in assisting that atmosphere to be able to contain all of us in the ways that we would like. And so we can start with our own containers. And that's one of the things that I know is that we can begin by creating our own container and attending to the atmosphere that is around us, because each of us is a conductor. I think about all of the ways that we can conduct ourselves, but also that we're conductors of energy and conductors of power. And I think it's really important that we all recognize that everybody has so much power to be used for the good. Everyone has so much power and so many gifts and so many talents and so many ways to share who and what they are in the world. And so I really want us to be thinking about how we can do that and how we can be a blessing to this place with our, not only with our gifts and our talents, but also with our dreams. And I believe that our dreams are connected to that. And so my partner was talking about the soul checkup, like we could do a little soul checkup, and our atmosphere is really our soul. So I think that sometimes we think that our soul is inside of our body, but actually our soul is surrounding our body. So our soul is what is surrounding our body, and then the soul is made up of 4 parts. So there's four aspects to the soul. And my mom taught me that there were several aspects to the soul. Barbara means atoms. She taught me that one of the aspects of the soul is the eye, so our vision, and everybody has vision. So it's not like just one person. I guess everybody has it. So that's the good thing. And so we have our eye, and then we have our breath, which is how the soul enters the body. And so it's one of the ways that the soul enters the body is through the breath. And then we also have what is called our animal twin, at least that would be in the Oglala Lakota Sioux way. But then there's also, like in Africa, it would be called the bush soul, like the animal twin, or the animal that takes care of the person is called the bush soul, or the nagual in Spanish, or in Mexico. And so every continent has this animal twin. And so I just think that's so interesting, and that's another aspect of the soul. And then there's the guardian. So I think that it's really important that we attend to our soul, and that and these guardians are a part of our soul, but also the animal twin. Like if we all remembered, I just love that when I think about my Barbara mom, I think about, because I have a Matilda mom and a Barbara mom, and I love them both so much. When I think about her and I think about that, I think about just how beautiful that has been for me to have my animal twin. And what if we all knew that we had an animal twin, and then we took care of that being, in addition to it taking care of us, or that animal taking care of us, or the animal person taking care of us. So what I'm thinking about is I'm thinking about reciprocity. I'm thinking about rhythms. I'm thinking about patterns. And I did keep my commitment to write something. I wrote something called a sestina, and a sestina is actually a poem that has some rhythms to it and some patterns, and I just thought it would be interesting to work with that. So I'm working on that, and maybe I can share it with you on Fridays. We continue our conversation in this climate. And so I would just ask that you remember that it's your soul that animates your body, and that, what can you do that is soulful? Can you pray? Can you dance? Can you connect with your relatives? I'm staying really connected with my relatives. I'm staying connected with my relatives here. I'm staying connected with my relatives, with my mom. What can you do? Can you get groceries for someone? We got groceries for an elder the other day. If you can go out in your hazmat, no, in your hazmat suit, or however it is that you can go out, to find a way to help your family members, and I'm going to help care for some of the children in my family over these days, so that work can get done. And so I would just ask that you pay attention to what it is that really animates you. And those connections animate us. They connect us and they animate us. And what's important is that the body and the soul stay together. Another thing that I wanted to mention also at this time was around cleansing and purification. There's so many different ways that we can cleanse and purify. And I think that that's one of the beautiful things that is happening for the earth right now, is that there's a purification that's happening. And so I would just ask, however you purify, whether that's with water. I know in Europe there are these saunas. I don't know if you've been to them, but I've been to some of the Russian saunas, and they're very, very, very hot, and there's steam. But then there's also, they use oak leaves it's really beautiful, and they actually I've seen it before where they're working with those oak leaves and on people's skin, and they're just making this pattern on the back. There's also, everyone has some form of purification, or a way to sweat things out, or and so you can use water. You can work with water, and right now, because we're in a safe container and creating safe containers, maybe you can run your water really hot, or boil some water. If we don't have running water, then we can boil some water. If we can get water together, and then we can boil it and just make a nice steam, and then take it into a small place. You can put it yourself under a blanket, and just let yourself purify. Maybe put some herbs in the water, flowers or plants that you like, but just to allow yourself to be purified and to just steam it out. And then there are a lot of other ways that we can purify. Some people work with smoke. I know that Palo Santo is something in South America and in Mexico that is worked with. There's sage, there's cedar, but what's most important is that we are praying, and that we can send our prayers. That we're sending our prayers up and sending our prayers into the world. And I remember. When I had the honor and holy privilege to teach in Japan, and one of the things that I saw there were all of these temples, and in the temples there were these little notes, and I just thought, oh my gosh, those are little love notes to HP, higher power. Those are little love notes to Great Spirit. And I just loved them, and some of them were folded into little butterflies, some of them, and so it's also something I've heard that happens in Europe with some of the sacred wells. I haven't seen that myself, but little pieces of paper that are tucked in there. And it's something that I also did when I was a child. I would actually write Creator notes, little notes, and then I would bury them in the earth so Creator would get them. And I remember I went back once to see if the note was still there, and it wasn't. So who knows if I was digging in the right place. I think I was, but I think Great Spirit probably took my note, or Creator took my note. So connect with nature. It connects us to our own nature. We are a part of nature, and now it's time for us to reflect and to heal in a good way. And then I wanted to finish with this piece by William Stafford, and he is called "The Way It Is." This was a poem that was given to me by one of my mentors some years ago. And it says, "There's a thread you follow. It goes among things that change, but it doesn't change. People wonder about what you are pursuing, and you have to explain about the thread. But it's hard for others to see. While you hold it, you can't get lost. Tragedies happen. People get hurt or die, and you suffer and get old. Nothing you can do can stop time's unfolding, you don't ever let go of the thread. You don't ever let go of the thread. So whatever that thread is for you, I hope you're exploring that and finding that, and that we're all able to come together and to stay connected, and that really social, I don't think it should be social distancing. We've been talking about this at my dinner table, but I think it should really just be physical distancing, physical distancing, and connecting, emotional connection. So deepening our intimacy, deepening our relationships. It's an opportunity for us right now. And I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a beautiful day, and I'll talk with you on Friday. And let's continue with our prayer for the earth. Bye.